It's really so nice of everyone to help Tom Sandoval not look like such a bad guy. Like when Lisa translates for him, Lala translates for him, Schwartz will be like, he's a good guy. Andy's like, hey, little buddy, did you maybe want to say you're sorry about the George Floyd comment? No, you just want to make it worse? Okay, guys, Tom's trying. He's trying his hardest. Just got to give him. It's so nice of everyone. It's so nice of them. The Lala and Katie of it all, it really makes me think that my theory about production wanting to give Tom the redemption arc, and I don't know if they wanted to take Ariana down or if they wanted to knock her off her pedestal a little bit. They're like, damn, anyone else real jealous? What if the producers were even a little jealous? I don't know. I don't know if that I'm just being shady. That's not fair. I don't think they were trying to take her down. I think maybe they thought it would be interesting, putting that in quotes, if they got some Ariana dislike. A little, are you guys secretly a little resentful maybe? Because they do these calls with producers at the top of the season. So they know that, like, okay, this is what I'm up to. This is what I got going on, whatever. Katie and Lala basically did theirs together, according to Lala on the after show. And Lala brought up what Katie had said to her about Ariana. And the only reason I would think that would be relevant in Lala's mind for the season, the upcoming season, is if production had already asked, like, what's everyone's take on Ariana? Like, or how are we doing? Anyone jealous? Anyone, whatever? How's Katie? I don't know. It seems like, because Katie wouldn't have volunteered it. And the timing of it, what they said, it was confusing because Katie was upset about Ariana going to Broadway and not giving her a heads up. The timing of that, because didn't that happen after they wrapped the season principal photography for the season? Because she was on Broadway, I believe, in January, and that's when the show was airing. Right? Yeah, because that's why Ariana wasn't watching it. So I'm a little confused. But even prior to that, if Katie, like, I've talked shit about many friends. I've vented about many of friends. And unless the friendship is being ended by whatever that thing is, most likely I'll still be their friend. And that's how it's going to go. If that friend that I told that stuff to was like, well, aren't you going to talk about how you said fill in the blank? That would be such a betrayal. But I feel like Lala has never really had genuine loyalty. After she switched over and started being friends with Katie and Stassi, because, she was just ride or die with James. And then her and James had a falling out and they had issues. And it was season 7. But she was fighting with James, but then like did a scene or two where she would make up with James. And then in the next scene, Katie would be like, no, don't do that. Fuck James. James isn't nice. And she'd be like, you're right. So she never really had like loyalty after a period of time, I don't feel. But she really is just doing shit for the show. She also tried to do this shit with Ariana. So this is season 11, 10. So season 9, the COVID season. She, before the season started, she was doing some podcast interviews about how Ariana is not a good friend, never checks in with her, and that you see that fight on camera. And I think it was a deleted scene or never before seen. Someone posted it. I don't remember who, but someone posted it, that in the scene where Ariana and Katie Lala are like talking about what happened. Ariana's like, hey, here's all the text messages of me texting you and telling you, hey, how's it going? Happy birthday. I'm so sorry about whatever. And like all that stuff. And Lala just looks at it and doesn't acknowledge it and then acts like Ariana's being irrational. And I'm like, but she's showing you that she did text you. And then you went on a podcast saying that she doesn't even reach out to you. So like, it is like you were lying, essentially. So Lala has a habit of doing this, of this kind of, I don't know if it's just for the show, because she's still doing it. Like she's still going on her Amazon lives and she's still talking about how she doesn't talk to them and whatever. Is it just to drum up PR for the show? Because then she also made the joke in her Amazon live that every headline this season has been about her. And oh, my back hurts from carrying the season. I'm like, oh, that's how, oh. So I don't know if all of this shit is just because when Lala said, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me get through this damn recap, Emily. And I have 2 episodes. I'm going to cover both this week and last week's episodes of The Valley. So let me just get the hell into it and stop getting ahead of myself. Okay, so they do the little intros. Hi, everybody, whatever. And Andy tries to ask about the house, but they can't talk about it because now they're in litigation. One of the many lawsuits now Ariana is involved in, or legal things. I'm not sure exactly what's happening with Penny, but something's going on there. But Lisa tries to play all stupid. She's like, "Are you still living there?" Or I'm like, okay, so you really don't talk to these people outside of filming because we all know that she's not living there. And she just says, I've been in an Airbnb and in New York. So and they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, so Tom is still there because he's a piece of shit. Andy reminds Tom that when Jax cheated, you suggested he leave the house. And Tom goes, well, I'd maybe think differently if it was a 5-bedroom house and not a 2-bedroom apartment. Would you? I don't know. You like to give out a lot of advice, but you don't like to take it. And your situation's always a little different. And so therefore exempt from what you would do. Right? They bring up the messiness of the house. And Ariana tries to be like, I was in a purging phase. I'm like, girl, no, you're messy. You're messy. Because us clean girls, we just don't do that. Ever. We don't let it ever get like that. I don't care how depressed. Well, there are times when I've been depressed, but not like that. Not like that. But also Tom's stuff was contributing to it a lot. So we need to remind me of that. Like Tom was definitely contributing to it. Nice of him though to clean up his room, make sure his room's nice and neat. He's like, because Schwartz is like, yeah, no, he's very orderly. I'm like, okay, that's sweet. But the rest of the house, the part that Ariana has to deal with, he's like, that's fine. Fuck it. I don't care. So Andy brings up Rachel not coming back, and he addresses, and they get into that a little bit. And Andy asks if anyone regrets anything that they said at the reunion last year. And Lala says no. But then he asks Ariana, do you stand by what you said? And she says, absolutely. I had the courage to stand up to my perpetrators, and I cannot believe I even showed up that day. Not perpetrators. Oh, she's giving us theater. She's giving us camp. Perpetrators. My perpetrators. Oh, okay. She said perpetrators. Oh. But it was kind of weird because Andy goes, I mean, I would assume it's quite difficult for her, too, to come in and face everyone. And I'm like, yes, okay, I get where you're going with this. And Lala could not wait. Lala is like, yeah, exactly. Because, that's sweet that you showed up. And I'm really proud of you. But she showed up and I can't say I would. And I know that you wouldn't, by the way, Lala. You would not. You do run. She's like, I consider myself a tough bitch. I'm like, yeah, but in this regard, in the tucka stuff, not, no. Lala does, she gives Rachel credit for showing up. And Tom, though, goes, I mean, I think she's a coward. Whoa. And then Schwartz has some strong opinions. He's like, she's not some victim. She's acting like some victim. And Lisa's like, what was that one headline? The one, it said you were grooming her or something. And Tom goes, which is beyond fucking slander, considering that she is not underage. That implies pedophilia. I'm grateful that Lala goes, no, it doesn't. He's like, yes, it does. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. No, it does not. It's taking someone who is younger than you, more impressionable than you, and someone who is at a higher level of power than the other person. Tom goes, well, guess what? I was very impressionable when she took all her clothes off and jumped in my fucking pool. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. By the way, I thought you were working on yourself, Tom. I thought you were like, I'm trying to be a better person. I just want her to see that. Like, what are you working on then? Because if you were told that, because I know you're not listening, that Rachel said you've groomed her, maybe look at that. Maybe look up what grooming is. Maybe discover that you could possibly have done that because you were in a position of somewhat more power than her. You were telling her a bunch of shit that wasn't true. Like the relationship with Ariana was basically over. You're practically just waiting to break up till the season ends, which is kind of what she's making it. Do I believe everything Rachel says? No. I also think she hears stuff different and like it goes in this way and it comes out another way. Because I really have a hard time believing that the mental health facility said some of the stuff she's claiming they did. Some of the takeaways, I'm like, I don't know if that is what they would say they taught you, but okay. So gross. And of course, they're just like, all right, well, let's keep it moving because Tom said something problematic. We can't focus on that for too long because he can't take it. He gets sad. Well, Tommy gets real sad. Andy asks Lala, though, specifically if she thinks that Tom was grooming Rachel. And Lala looks like she's not sure how to answer based on the stance she's trying to have that day. Or in general, the stance that she had all season. Where it's like, I don't know, Tom Sandoval. Maybe he's not such a bad guy, which is crazy because she was also so proud to be like, I knew you were a snake. I knew it. I knew from the second I met you. I knew it. You know, but now she's like, maybe I don't. So she goes, look, you saw me call him a groomer, but I know I've been a projector and only Raquel and Tom know what the fuck was going on. And he's going to see it differently than she does. But then she's like, I do tend to lean towards the chick a little bit more. But my biggest problem was what she said about Ariana and yada, yada, yada. Like, shouldn't have done that because Ariana was her friend, whatever. So cool. I feel like you're still sort of riding the fence. I feel like what we liked so much about you is that you were very sure, but now you're like, I don't know. Maybe I don't really know what was happening there. Tom goes, she pursued this, as did I. And Andy goes, you're saying that you were both equal partners. I go, well, that is so lovely of you, Andy. How nice of you to translate for him. Let him stutter. Let him stutter and let him not get it out. I'm also surprised Schwartz was so like opinionated on it too. He was like, I witnessed it. She was just as conniving, if not more so, and ruthless in her pursuit of pleasure. Oh. You know, you forget Schwartz can bust it out. I know people are trying to say that the text message that Schwartz sent, what's her name? Joe, was written by his girlfriend, but Schwartz can be vicious and Schwartz can say shit and Schwartz fancies himself like, you know, he always uses some big words. He always tries to like throw something in there. He's weird like that, but he's not innocent and dumb. That's the problem is he appears that way. He's not dumb. He acts dumb. And this is an example. How was she more so conniving? Like, don't put that on. I'm sorry. Maybe equal, fine. But more so, how? How was she more? I don't buy that. I don't buy that. Ridiculous. You're both taking this stance is ridiculous. The scene where Rachel's working and the Toms go in and Tom Sandoval's like, come sit here in the middle of us. Oh, it just felt really gross. It felt very not okay at all. At all. Andy brings up Rachel suing Ariana and Tom and both of them for the revenge porn. And Scheana does come to Ariana's defense and she's like, she was never distributing any of that. And Tom's like, it's one thing to come after me, but to come after Ariana, like, I'm questioning if she even has a fucking soul. I mean, we wonder the same thing about you, Tom. Honestly, the shit you do. It's kind of, I don't know, it doesn't make sense for him to be like, Rachel's the enemy. It doesn't make sense to me. But I guess in his mind it does. Andy tries to throw it over to James, like, how do you feel about this whole thing? And he's like, I'm over it. I don't know. I'm not even paying attention. But Andy's like, well, you brought her into this group. They're like, yeah, you did. Dude, you fucking brought her in. This is about Sandoval's mental health and suicidal ideation. They bring that up and he's like, how are you doing now? And Tom goes, I have my ups and downs. Anything I say or do is very heavily scrutinized. Everybody is getting that same level of scrutiny. So I don't want to hear it, Tom. I have personally heavily scrutinized Scheana, Lala, Schwartz. Okay, you're not so special. It's not just happening to you. All right. But then he says something I hate. I hate when people say this. I'm not perfect. You want to know why I don't like people say that? It's like it makes it seem like they're taking some sort of ownership, but they're not, because no one's perfect. So we know that's a baseline. Like, and I'm not perfect. Oh, wow. If you say that, then you know. Duh. Duh. Andy asked Ariana how she felt when she heard about his mental health with, everyone coming after him. And Ariana's like, well, I was not someone who was coming after him. So that was not something that I was creating. And I think that's an important point, because I could not believe the audience that was like, she should come forward and tell people to back off. Huh? Wow. Oh, okay. Why? Why would someone do that? Why would the person who was cheated on do that? That's crazy. It's like, you guys made that her fault too? Incredible. But then she goes, but at the same time, very quickly after our last reunion, he weaponized the things I've talked about on this very show, my issues, suicidal ideation and whatever. I just didn't want to be a part of that. And Tom goes, I'm curious as to how I weaponized your suicidal thoughts. And Scheana's like, we talked about this. Scheana, here is your perfect example. You claimed it was a groundbreaking conversation you had with Tom Sandoval, a groundbreaking conversation where he got it, where he really got it. And here he is proving he didn't. So it's do the math. Do the math. You create these things in your mind. You create this idea that he was like, oh yeah, let me really think about that. But that's not what was happening. And he never said he never went, you're right. He was like, yeah, okay, I'll think about it. But you in your head thought, I did it. I did it. And that's why you keep trying to hang out with him, because you think maybe if you say it this way, whatever. It doesn't work, because here he is proving he did not hear you. It wasn't a groundbreaking conversation. There we go. Okay. Tom's like, I brought it up because I felt that it was used against me in a very textbook manipulation tactic. And I hate to say that, but when you're in a relationship that's not going well, and then you're talking about how you want out, and Lisa's like, okay, well, hold on. And Tom goes, I'm trying to explain it. Okay, well, she's actually coming in to help you yet again. And she's like, it's different because that was an intimate conversation between the two of you. When you told me about your feelings of suicidal ideation, you were putting it out there of your own volition. And you were putting it, well, I'm translating, and also on camera. Hello, when you filmed that scene with me and you said that on camera, you were putting it out yourself. And she's like, it wasn't Ariana's position, and that was an intimate conversation. And Lala goes, there's two things happening here. She confided in you, and you put it out on camera. And Tom says, because I didn't believe it. That's why. Yeah, no, we got that. We got that you didn't believe it. We got that you were saying to us, and then she'd be like, I'm going to fucking kill myself. And we would go, what a bitch. We get it. That's what you thought you were doing. Mm-hmm. Copy that. We knew. We figured that out. Lala goes, but now you know how it feels to have those types of thoughts and have people say, I don't believe it. And that's a great point. And so Tom just goes, I do. There were 4 other things said that didn't end up happening. What the fuck do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? That she was fake threatening you? And so Scheana actually comes, and you're saying you wanted to call bullshit. If you would have broken up with her, if she wanted to leave the show, move to New York, that's on her. If that's what she needed for her mental health. So if you wanted to call bullshit, you could have just walked out the fucking door. And Tom goes, but that's the thing. And she goes, no, Tom, no but. There is no but. That sentence was over. Well, it wasn't. Let him talk. What does he have to say? What's he going to say? You're not going to get through to him. You're not going to get through. He is trying to get us to go, wow, so she didn't quit the show and she didn't move to New York. She was just threatening you. If you don't want to be in a relationship with someone, them saying, then I'll just kill myself or whatever you're claiming she said to you. Sure, yeah, that's going to make you worried. But the rest of it, she could move to New York. She could quit the show. That's, he's sick. He's a sick man. As a booze-free girly, it's tough to find beverages that fit all my criteria. One of the main criterias being no sugar, no calories. So I've often just had like sparkling water, variations of sparkling water. Well, now we have hop water. Not only does hop water have no sugar and no calories, but it also has neurotropics. Neurotropics like L-theanine. You also may get neurotropics from caffeine or omega-3 fatty acids, but they enhance cognitive function. They help improve memory, enhance focus, improve overall brain function. And I was not a big beer drinker, so I thought I would not like hop water, but the flavors are delightful. I really love the ruby red grapefruit. Trust me, hop water is the perfect beverage to enjoy all year long. I know you'll love it too. For a limited time, my listeners get 20% off your first purchase plus free shipping when you order 24 cans or more. Order now at my exclusive URL to get this offer. hopwater.com/she-speaks. That's HOPWTR.com/she-speaks. Don't wait. Go now to hopwtr.com/she-speaks. I don't consider myself the hostess with the mostess. I'm definitely no Dorinda, that's for sure. However, I like to seem like I have it together. And once again, Wild Grain to the rescue. Wild Grain is where I basically store all of my hosting food. So I had a friend come over last week to watch the Vanderpump finale, and I forgot that I had all this amazing stuff in the freezer. So I whipped up some pasta. That's right, me. And I threw in a loaf of sourdough in the oven. This is the easiest thing. I don't have to think about it. I could literally remember it seconds before they walked in the door because no thawing is required, even though everything stays in the freezer. Wild Grain is the first ever bake from frozen subscription box. So it's kind of groundbreaking because when you have to thaw something, you're never going to remember that. But Wild Grain is so easy. You get sourdough breads, you get fresh pastas, you get artisanal pastries. I also threw in some biscuits at the end too. I'm like, want some dessert? Because I got that too. Thank you, Wild Grain. Every item bakes from frozen in 25 minutes or less. And you can now fully customize your Wild Grain box so you can choose any combination of breads, pastas, pastries. You can even build a box of only breads, only pastas, or only pastries if you so wish. For a limited time, you can get $30 off the first box plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/she-speaks to start your subscription. You heard me. Free croissants in every box and $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/she-speaks. That's wildgrain.com/she-speaks. Or you can use promo code she-speaks at checkout. Andy goes, Lisa, you said that the only way Tom was going to make his way back was with utter sensitivity and contrition. Do you ultimately feel you saw that from him? Lisa goes, I did see remorse. I did see contrition. But he'll counteract that with something else, as Lala just said. Saying but in an apology, there are no buts. And Tom is like, I did not say I'm sorry, but you did not just hear that. That's actually what you just fucking did. Do you want to maybe address how you weaponize her mental health? Yeah, I did, but I felt at the time. Do you see how that works, sir? And Andy then, oh, look, Annette, this is so sweet. Andy goes, maybe one of the challenging things is that there have been a lot of lies and betrayals in this group in the past. And I think that maybe in your mind, you wanted to get the point out that, well, you did this, you know. Do you think you got in your own way at all? And Tom goes, my reference towards that was when, you know, things would happen with people in the past. I was never so attacking. Well, then they play this amazing compilation of him yelling at people and being terrible. And I'm like, thank God. Because if they didn't, that would have been like, you guys are really showing your ass. Katie and Lala are like, no. Lala goes, you don't get to sit here and be like, they attack me, but the way I come forward It's like you've got a skewed perception of reality. And Tom goes, did I do one podcast about you and Randall's breakup? And Lala hits him with I wish you would have. I needed some fucking backup. Next time, could you? He's like, I wouldn't do that though. She's like, yeah, please do next time. Because what he's saying, Lala, is he would have been like, I get why Randall broke up with Lala or something. I don't know. That actually that's a good thing to throw back at him, because it's like, wouldn't you have just been on my side because Randall was so bad? Like, clearly not. Clearly not. And he goes, well, Sandoval, as you move forward from the affair, it's like you take 2 steps forward and 10 steps back. Sandoval's face during this, he's like, oh, what? No, I don't. He goes, and you really stepped in it this time when you compared your affair to George Floyd and O.J. Simpson. So talk to the people out there and talk to the people in the room about why they should believe that you've grown and changed. And Tom goes, oh, I mean, like, he like cuts him off. He's like, all right, I mean, what am I going to do, a sales pitch on myself? And he goes, listen, you've clearly made inroads with a lot of people in this group, and it's fair to say that you've gotten an incredible amount of backlash to statements that you've made. You don't need to defend yourself. And then he goes, I'm not defending myself. He goes, but tell me what you think of it. And he's like, all right. So he explains it, and then Lala helps translate. I have never seen so much hand-holding in my life. When Ariana's this angry, they're like, oh, she's so mad. With Tom, they're like, stop being so mad, Tom. Come on. What do you really mean, Tom? That's not what he meant. He didn't mean that. It's exhausting. Okay. Okay, then there's a Lala baby custody agreement segment. Then there's the Scheana postpartum OCD. Then Brock and his kids, and Katie gives him props. It was actually a very sweet scene. Then Andy asks how Lala feels about Dan now. And she's like, I like him. Honestly, I mean, he's really sweet too. He connects with me even through my kid. And they're like, oh, what? And he goes, yeah, like if I post pictures of Ocean, he'll be like, oh my God, she's so cute. And that means a lot. I'm like, that does mean a lot, actually. That's actually very fucking sweet, especially considering how much you talk shit about his girlfriend. And Andy asks Ariana if getting into, this is a really smart question and really great answer from her. Andy asks if Ariana getting into a relationship with Dan helped or hindered mourning the loss of the 10 years with Tom. And she says, I think it's going to be a very long time before I'm going to be able to be fully processed through all of those things. And I don't want to put my life on hold for some day that I may or may not consider myself fully healed, because I don't even know if that's going to happen. And I was like, oh, well, that's very healthy and good for you. Okay. Damn. Okay. Shut my ass up, maybe. Andy asks James, why do you think your relationship was more crucified than Ariana's? And it's funny because you can see James hadn't really been upset about that. But then as soon as Andy asked that question, he's like, yeah, actually, what the fuck? Because this starts to devolve. He starts to get mad, and Ariana, and he's like, hey, how come like I met Ali 2 months later, and Ariana met this guy 10 days later, and Ariana's like, I did not get with him 10 days later. There's this like tense moment, and he goes, whatever it was, what was the exact number? Let's get it. 2 weeks, 3 weeks? She goes, months. Thank you. I'm like, okay, girl. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Sorry, it did seem like it was fast. You might have met him then, but like you did end up talking to him and slowly but surely forming a relationship with him. So like you did do that. But okay, whatever. But it gets heated, and Ariana's like, this is not personal. He's like, I know it's not, but I'm just saying the fact of what it is. And he spirals, and he's like, but I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over it. And he's like, you don't seem over it. But then Brock surprises me. And Brock comes in and is actually like, look, we've seen so much growth from you, so I'm sorry if I made you feel that way. And James is like, yeah, I was hurt. And Andy goes, okay, well, he just apologized to you. Do you have a response to that? And he's like, oh yeah, Brock and I have come miles. We're good. It was like, Andy, you did this. Like, James wasn't really thinking about that. And then when you brought it up, he literally was like, that's right. I really hate the Lala Schwartz segments. I hate them in the after show, and I hate them here. I don't like them at all. I don't like them because Lala's like, I would eat him alive. And he's like, yeah, I don't think I could handle it. But then he's like, let me try. I think this will entice Schwartz because I don't like it. I don't even want to go there. I don't like it one bit. Andy, now we get on the topic of Pump, and Andy's talking about how it's closing. And Lisa says, having a restaurant open for 10 years is still a success. And Ariana, under her breath, goes, really? So she's done. She's done with Lisa. And Andy asks, okay, well, what about the landlord for Pump saying that he didn't raise the rent? Because I actually said this when I watched it. Some of this is like the Peacock only, and I forgot to mark where they were. So some of this stuff, if you're hearing it and you're like, I didn't see that, it might be from the Peacock version. Because in the regular airing, I was like, well, what about the landlord who said they didn't raise the rent? But she kind of responds perfectly. Lisa just goes, all right, well, let's move back then. And I'm like, okay, so maybe she's calling his bluff. I don't know how we can tell. I don't know. Is there a way to tell? It's still sitting there empty, which is ridiculous. Then, okay, the sign, moving the Pump sign over to TomTom. The TomTom brand gets discussed. Like, were you guys ever worried that she would just sort of turn TomTom into Pump? And I don't know, the way Lisa answered it was kind of interesting. I'm like, is she? Is she slowly turning TomTom just into Pump? Because I don't know. Because she's going to lose. I don't know. I think then she could get away from the Toms and not have to be associated with them, which goes back to what I was thinking about maybe Penny, Chef Penny being a plant for Lisa, because, well, we'll get into that right now. They talk about no Schwartz and Sandy's on the show and blah, blah, blah. I don't care about that. But now Andy asked the girls about something about her and says, to what do you contribute this series of delays? And Katie said, we did not know what was lying ahead, which was a bunch of red tape and all sorts of issues. And Andy asks Lisa's opinion while Katie's talking. It was kind of weird. Katie's finishing up and he's like, Lisa, what do you think? She goes, I disagree. I think it's a multitude of things, of disagreements, of Ariana being away. You could get through your drain issue and your health issue in a year. And Ariana's like, they're both like, what? Huh? What? Ariana goes, we've never had a disagreement about me being away. And Lisa's like, if it was purely just the city and the red tape, it wouldn't take a year. And they're both like, but it has taken a year. It has been a year. And she's like, a year? And Katie goes, well, we dealt with the whole patio debacle. And then I don't know why Lisa goes, no, I meant with Penny as well. And Katie just goes, Penny's a non-issue. And Ariana goes, yeah, but she was involved for a split second and she's not involved. Katie says she was with us for 2 months. That's not the issue. My question is, right where with Lala's, you didn't just have her in one scene with you guys. You've had her in multiple scenes with you guys in this season as well. I'm curious about that. Was that like a Lisa mandate? Like she must do something about her scene? She was interviewing people with you guys. So what happened? I think she did something really fucking shady. I also think it's, okay, the way Lisa goes, because, excuse me, Lisa, oh God, I have the hiccups, sorry. Lisa goes, Penny thought she was going to be a partner. That's what she thought. I remember when I introduced you to her. And Andy goes, do you regret introducing them? And she goes, if Penny ends up hurt, I do regret it. Okay, but why would they want a partner? Why would they want a third partner? They could just make their own sandwiches. And they probably planned on it. They were workshopping sandwiches. So why would they want a third partner? They already have 2. They've already pitched it to investors, whatever, as the 2 of them. Why was Penny under the impression that they would want this third person to have a stake in something about her? It's theirs. Why would they want that? That's odd to me. And so that's sort of why I go back to thinking that Lisa wanted that connection there. This is just a conspiracy. I don't know, but I don't get why they would want Penny to be a partner. She'd grow the brand, building a brand with them. And something went wrong, but I don't know exactly what it was. It's in the hands of lawyers again, right? Like, oh my God, lawyers. Why? And they just, I think that we were on different pages, what we were looking for versus what she wanted to offer. Now, this really makes me think that Penny might have had something to do with them taking so long, whether it be that they thought Penny was taking care of stuff more than what she was, because there is a position for the like head of the back, like the sous chef, the executive chef, what did they? I think they even had a name for the name for her was the title. Like that is a title, and you pay them a salary, and that's normal, and they take care of specific things. That's all very normal and typically how it's done. But if you're going to start thinking you're also a partner, that's a problem, because no, you're here to execute our ideas. And I feel like that's where the reason why I feel like Lisa's involved is because they're being weird about it and cagey about it and not talking about the full thing. It feels. Penny is shady. Penny also, she did an interview with The Sun. I can't remember. I'm pulling this from Vanderpump Rules Party. They posted a reel of this. This is what Penny said about it. They just stopped talking to me. Meanwhile, I was still doing all the work. They don't even have the audacity to sit down with me. I'm not some fucking garbage you picked up off the side of the street. I have a reputation in this industry. And that's something off more than anything. Sorry, I didn't see what she wrote there. Penny alleged she and her husband, Jonathan Lee Borsick, helped to file a trademark for the business in August 2023 after getting the okay to do so. She then shares the alleged text from Katie and Ariana giving their approval. The chef said she dealt with everything with the city, with the landlord, getting the permits, doing all the sketching, and even meet with people at 2 a.m. with the hope of getting it opened and ready. That sort of is what makes me think that she might have had something to do with the delay. And if you file for the trademark, you don't file it under your name. Like they might have said, yes, go ahead and file it for us, thinking it would be for Katie and Ariana to have it, but not with you. And I think all of this is sounding like she was like, yeah, no, we're a partner. It sounds like someone who knows loopholes and knows how to get into a situation like that, even if people don't want her in a situation like that. She's like, what? We agreed? No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Andy looks at Schwartz and he's like, okay, look, given how much grief the boys took, Schwartz, is there any part of you that's kind of like, Schwartz is like, no, but James goes, bullshit. The smile you had on your face when Andy talked about the delay, and they cut back to him, Cheshire Cat grinning. And he's like, it just would have been nice to get more support or whatever, but that's great. And then Ariana, under her breath, she goes, I got it the whole time. I was very supportive of Schwartz and Sandy's. Very important to remind everyone of that. Okay, she was. And honestly, to a point sometimes where she shouldn't have been, Then Andy asks, Ariana, how did it feel for you seeing Lala interact with Sandoval this season? Did it make you want to take a step back? Ariana goes, no, I think that and then Lala goes, no, I want you to be honest. Did it make you want to take a step back? And Ariana goes, okay, I have to be really honest. I haven't watched any of this season. And some people are like, oh my God, I can't even believe it. And she goes, look, previous seasons I would watch everything, but this one I felt like I did not want to get dragged back to this time of my life when I felt like I was really trying to live in the present. And Lala actually whispers under her breath, she's like, I so get that. And Lala then says, okay, I was so transparent with you this year too. I'm like, well, that's an exaggeration. And Ariana goes, yeah, that's what I appreciate about Lala as a person. You said to me, I'm working through stuff on my own. And I was aware of that. And I'm like, if only you saw what was really being said. Ooh. Then they get into the package about the Katie and Lala feud. And Katie starts to say like, oh, well, we took some time to figure out what happened. We're not really sure what happened. And Lala goes, oh, I know exactly what happened. And Katie's like, oh. And so Katie says it started when she was when Lala was getting close with Scheana. So she felt like, what's that going to do to our friendship? And okay. And Andy is like, oh, and did Katie getting close to Ariana also affect your relationship? I'm like, what? Why do you guys assume that Lala and Ariana hate each other? So why would that affect things? Lala goes, well, here's the difference. This part was I treat my enemies like my enemies. But Katie and I have come a very long way, so I want to choose my words wisely when communicating with her. What? In the DM, the initial DM, when she was upset about Scheana, what she had put in there was extremely hurtful. She talked about my custody battle. You said, get rid of your lawyers because what you need is a fucking therapist. You're a fucking clown. And this sparks a debate over what she really said. So I need to kind of rewind to what it is. So Scheana and Lala were getting close, and Katie was pissed that Katie sent a vicious message where it said, you don't need lawyers, you need a therapist. All because she was being friends with Scheana. Not great. Not the best move. Okay. And so it goes back and forth. And she's kind of like, well, Katie's like, I didn't mean to get rid of them. I said, I recommend a therapist. I recommend everyone has a therapist. And Lala says, this is what put us on rocky ground going into the summer. And then Lala goes, and then a girls' night, Ariana, I wasn't trying to make it about me. I was just trying to get you to understand that I see you. But that's not what I got. And then he goes, and Katie, then you jumped down my throat. And Katie goes, the way I was seeing it was if you see the situation similar, which I didn't see it that way, but if you see yourself, then put yourself in her shoes. You are in this place that you are now looking back after all the miles. She's 5 months into it. I was just like, stop telling people how they should be handling the situation. And Lala goes, I was giving her the heads up. He's probably going to go kick it with Sandoval. They could be BFFs. This motherfucker was playing pickleball, and I had to get over that shit, What? When he was playing pickleball, you were mad at first. So why wouldn't you be like, I get it. I had to get mad at Schwartz. I got over it eventually, but yeah, I get it. Why not give her that? Why not, instead of being like, Ariana, just trust me, don't do what I did. Just do what I would do now, hypothetically, even though I'm not at all in that scenario. No, let her why wouldn't you be like, I can get it. I get it. When Schwartz played pickleball with Randall, I was done. So you're going to have to go through it in your own way, but I'm here for you. What a concept. What a concept, huh? Wow. But then Katie was like, that's not what you were saying. Okay, that's not what you were not saying. And I hate Lala goes like, oh, am I going insane? And then Scheana's like, no. And I think to add on to some of the issues you have said that conversations you guys had before the season, that you kind of went back on some of the things you said and how you felt and how you were supporting her and being like, yeah, it would have been nice if people rallied around both of us. And Katie goes, I'm so glad. Katie's like, yeah, okay, we're not going to do this now. She's like, who wouldn't want that? I've talked to her about that. And yeah, objectively, fuck yeah, I would have loved some more fucking support. Okay. And she goes, I just think when it started, she felt like you were like her enemy. And Lala goes, I felt abandoned by you this season. And Andy, they cut over to Andy. He just goes, wow. And Katie goes, why? Because I didn't jump on the Tom train or what? And Lala goes, hold up. I didn't jump on the Tom train either. Yes, you did. I jumped on Lala's train. Okay. And Katie's like, what abandonment are you talking about? And Lala goes, I'm talking about you and I had conversations. And Katie maintains look, I was only talking about the public response objectively, but the way I feel about Ariana, those are two things happening at once. And Lala goes, Katie, I don't like what you're doing right now at all. And she's like, we had conversations beyond just the support. It was that she abandoned you in the sandwich shop this time last year. You said she wasn't caught up on her rent for the sandwich shop. Katie's like, what are you talking about? We were both paying rent. Lala makes a face at Scheana like she's almost about to cry. And Scheana goes, did you confide in Lala about the way you were feeling and Ariana when she left to go do Broadway and didn't give you a heads up? And Katie goes, okay. But wasn't that off camera? Wasn't that before after they had filmed? Because she's just finished her run, right? Yeah. So that's weird because that wouldn't have been brought up on camera, right? And Lala goes, but okay, sorry, I skipped the part that Katie goes, okay, well, that was one time and I wish I would have gotten a little bit of a heads up, but we talked about that. And the issues I was having was because of my own insecurities. Oh, wait, I'm doing the math. Because Lala goes, this time last year, that would have been last reunion. So it is possible that at that point, Katie was like, and she's like behind on the rent. Like, what am I supposed to fucking do? Like, I'm trying to do the sandwich shop with her, and now she's going to go do this and that. Okay, that might be the timing of when these conversations were happening. Katie, though, I could go back and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But the bottom line is Andy's like, so you're saying Katie was different on camera. And Katie's like, that's bullshit. Because it is bullshit. And Lala's thing is some people were living in the comment sections. And then when the cameras went up, I was the bad guy saying the things they'd all been saying. And I'm going to read what Katie said. This is what Katie said about the whole thing. She posted this in her stories. I'm someone who has suffered from imposter syndrome for as long as I've known myself. Hence why I was apprehensive about opening the sandwich shop on my own. So when Ariana was going through not only a world of hurt, but also getting some amazing opportunities, that changed a lot of things during a pivotal time. I was extremely sensitive to what she was going through, but also very supportive. I was also dealing with immense insecurity about what I could take on and simply didn't want to put that on her. I had an emotional response that didn't feel appropriate bringing to her front door, so I went to where I felt safe. Or where I thought I was safe, until I could find the appropriate conversation was to have, I think she meant to say, until I could find the appropriate conversation to have with Ariana. Which of course I did, and we have had plenty since. To know me is to know I value trust, loyalty, and integrity. Which is all very true. So here's what I'm thinking happened. I'm thinking all of these, because remember they came into the reunion last year, Lala and Katie, they came into the reunion last year having had fought. And it was because of Scheana. So that was a year ago that from this filming. So a year ago, Katie and Lala discussed she was mad about the Scheana thing. And in that conversation was when Katie said the lawyers thing. You would think that would have been resolved by that point because they've talked and seen each other since that last reunion. So it's just weird that she's bringing that up. But that's what changed it. But then that was last season's reunion. But I guess I got to look at the timing of things because they filmed the reunion when the show is airing. Oh, that makes sense. And then they started filming 3 months later after the reunion, essentially. Okay, got it. Now I got it. So at the time of the reunion last year, okay. So it is right before filming that happened and at the reunion. Okay. Now I'm getting the timing of it. But anyway, it is possible, and it makes complete sense to me that, because like I said, I've vented about many of friends and would never expect them to go and tell that person or tell someone else who could tell that person, because then they would vent to me about a friend. And like, that's just sort of what you do. You have to hash things out. Relationships have dynamics in them that need to be analyzed sometimes. And so you bounce that off someone else. And sometimes you are fucking pissed. But again, unless you are ending the friendship, you're probably just going to stay their friend. And that's just going to be a fight you guys had. Or maybe it wasn't even a fight. Maybe you never talked to them about it. Maybe when you talked to your other friend, you were like, you know what? This actually isn't that big of a deal. It's a betrayal for Lala to then go, well, that's perfect because you were upset with Ariana. And that makes sense now that I'm doing the math. So if Katie was having these conversations with Lala at that time before filming, and then they start to film and they're like, well, perfect, because Katie was having an issue with Ariana. And Katie's like, no, that's over. That's not happening anymore. What are you talking about? Yes, you were really upset. You know what? Fuck you. Like, I get over it. Like, I'm not going to bring this to the show. Okay. Katie is seasoned enough to know where they were going with things. And Katie's done this show long enough to know that they don't like the women. So she was like, no, that's not going to be a part of my story or our story. And don't try to make it a part of that story. Okay? And that's when she's like, if you try to fuck with my business, I'll fuck with yours. And Lala takes that so personal. She's like, oh my God. Yeah, my business that I support my daughter with, and you don't even have a business. And she reuses the same line. So she, in the reunion, which is shot after the after show, is the second time she's using this joke. I like that they showed it the first time too. Because so in the after show, she says, I wanted to say something about her is nothing about her. Good one. Ooh, because then she says it again in the reunion. She's like, I didn't get enough of an audience response to that. I was workshopping. Now I'm going to say it again. Okay, congratulations. But if she felt like you were fucking with her business, okay? And so she said, if you fuck with mine, I'll fuck with yours. But she's like, I can't, but, Lala, I cannot with you. I already started watching the preview for next week's whatever. And Katie and Ariana are able to say, like, we've had these conversations. We've had these conversations off camera, but they weren't. If I bring it to, like, it's one thing to have a personal one-on-one conversation, but to say to the producers, yes, this was happening, I don't want to talk about it, means that there will be a story followed. And that will become a whole thing, you know? In the after show, Lala explains that there was the phone call. I already talked about this at the top of the show. There was the phone call with Katie and Jeremiah. And I'm going to say, I think it's one of those calls that they do prior to filming where they kind of get the lay of the land. And Katie in her after show, Katie seems very nervous, though, to talk about this in front of Ariana. She's like, she was accusing me of not, like, being something, and it was almost like something having to do with us, but, like, I don't remember what it was pertaining to. I'm like, that's not true. That's not true. And I'm actually a little surprised. I haven't seen Katie be, like, afraid of someone in a minute, but I do think that Katie is probably like, no, I didn't want to stress her out. And I don't want her to think I was talking shit about her, because I wasn't. I was just venting to a friend, and I regret that. Lala goes, I told Katie, there are things that you have said to me. These are the things you've said to me, and I don't know why you're shying away from this conversation. So that's what makes me think that the conversation was veering that way, because producers were like, is there anything going on with Katie and Ariana? Or is anyone mad at Ariana? Like, they were looking for a nugget of that, which I would have enjoyed Katie and Ariana talking about these issues on camera. Very much so. 100%. But we didn't really get a lot of that. Maybe they filmed it and they didn't. Well, I don't know. They would have talked about that. They would have shown it, right? They would have been like, here's a never before seen here at the reunion. And it would have shown them talking about it. So they didn't talk about it. But Katie's like, if I'm not genuinely upset with somebody in that moment, I'm not going to get myself upset with them again. That's not how I've ever done this. Oh, yeah, because Lala had said something like, I want to play the same game we've been playing, but now it doesn't apply to Ariana. It's like, okay, so that's, again, proving that there's jealousy. But what game have you been playing, ma'am? What game have you been up to? Have you been doing shit like this? Have you been... Because that's what Scheana has, I'm sure. Sheena's very she's just been very aware of the fans, of the feedback for a long time. So this could be like Scheana feeding her stuff. Katie's experience on this show is very different than anyone else's. It's Katie's, you know? So I feel like Lala is saying, we want to play the same game. What game? The game of what? I'm not really mad at Ariana, though. So I'm not going to add that to the let's film it storyline and have the girls turn against each other. Lala, you shouldn't be so eager for that. We could be flipping this and be like, we all just want to support each other and you know, promote each other or something. But no. They show the different setup, the different after show setup. So the first one that they showed with Lala talking about this was when she was with Scheana and James. The second one where she's with Brittany, that's when she talks about how in general, Katie thought Ariana should move out. And then when cameras were up, Katie just agreed with everything Ariana was saying. And then she says, take Ariana out of it and insert Scheana. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine the heyday she would have? I don't know. I think maybe if Katie was annoyed and was like, why is she even still there? Like, she needs to move out. Oh my God, like, get her out of there. Or maybe even Lala prompted it and was like, why the fuck is she still living there? It's like, yeah, I don't know. But, you know, she can't move out. I don't know. But, like, Lala she's taking a conversation and pulling it out of context almost it's proving to me that the producers wanted this. The only reason she's pulling this out is because some producer was like, is anyone fighting with Ariana? And she was like, yeah, no, she is. She's mad at her over that. It's like, why do you guys want that? Why do you need that so bad? And yeah, I mean, I'm sure Katie would be like, I think she should fucking move out as soon as she can or something, but also understanding why she's not. And then it's not affecting her. And why did that bother Lala so much? Why did them living together bother her so much? Like, so much. You know, and you can't film with them, but you sleep under the same roof. Like, how many times do we have to go over this? That really got under Lala's skin. I don't know why either. Lala says that even Katie was also saying that she was annoyed that she was the only one doing things for the sandwich shop and always late on her half of the rent. Now, I might even veer off a little bit and be like, that's possible. I feel like Ariana gets the note from many people that she doesn't keep up and check in and stay on top of things, and that could be a fault of Ariana's. Ariana could very well need like an assistant and could very well need, and I feel like with that line with saying that, you know, she hasn't been helped with the sandwich shop, I think that goes to what Katie was saying, which is I was feeling insecure and I was scared, and that's what you do is you're like, and she's not even doing anything for the sandwich shop, and then you really think about it and you're like, well, what could she be doing? Like, I'm like, she is like, that's not true. And so she could check herself on that later. But Lala like pulling it out. And maybe Ariana was late on her half of the rent. Clearly the rent was getting paid because it's not like they're in some sort of major delinquency. But, you know, maybe she was. Maybe she's a scatterbrain. Maybe she's not great at being organized. Maybe these are things that she could work on. So, not a big deal. Not the worst thing in the world. Something that she could take in and maybe take note of. Lala, I have a hard time believing Lala is sending Ariana texts like, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? I think Lala expects people to do that for her, but I just don't see Lala being like this super giving friend that's like always thinking of the other person all the time, you know? There's an amazingly funny segment with James just making fun of Tom and his band. It goes on and on. It's so good. He is just not there for it. So that was worth the after show, honestly. There was one more thing at the end in this after show that was kind of funny. The way Tom was trying to talk about how Rachel had like abandoned him or whatever. They were making fun of him. Like, you want us to like go be like, so sorry, Tom. Yeah, but we're not going to do that. But other than that, that was kind of it from the after show. We have got to step into this summer in style. We have got to get a California chic, minimalist, staples, elevated everyday basics, like a capsule wardrobe going with Jenni Kayne. Jenni Kayne has everything we need to get it together this summer. I know I always go on and on about their sweaters, but for summer, their sundresses are fab. And I'm going to up my game with two perfectly effortless silhouettes. You can catch me wearing the Cove dress every single day. Loving its lightweight, flowy fabric. And I'm also obsessed with the Riviera slip dress. Ooh, she's cute. Shoes, too. The Eve sandal is everything you could ever want in a classic spring shoe. It pairs with any seasonal outfit. But of course, there's sweaters, always a must-have. The cotton cocoon cardigan and the Chloe crew neck. Love. Chloe crew neck comes in a range of colors, too, so you can easily mix and match with any wardrobe. Jenni Kayne's known for their super luxe yet lightweight sweaters. That's like their thing. The Cooper cardigan, so cute. You could pair that with a summer dress. Look at us. We're going to be so hot. Jenni Kayne focuses on comfort, quality, timeless design. You can curate a wardrobe that never goes out of style. They also have a stunning collection of home essentials, timeless furniture pieces, cozy pillows and throws, perfectly curated decor. Oh my God, and the candles. Fabulous. It's like what Jennifer Aniston's house must smell like. Plus, they've got a rewards program, so you can earn up to 10% back with every purchase, and you can join for free. So find your new uniform at jennikayne.com. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use code SHESPEAKS at checkout. That's 15% off your first order at JENNIKAYNE.com. Promo code SHESPEAKS. Let getting dressed be one less thing you need to worry about. Embrace your summer aesthetic with Jenni Kayne. It is that time of year in Los Angeles where I am clinging to my Astapro bottle because my allergies are constantly flaring up. Astapro is a first-of-its-kind nasal allergy spray. It is the fastest 24-hour over-the-counter allergy spray. It starts working in 30 minutes, while other allergy sprays take hours. Astapro is the first and only 24-hour steroid-free allergy spray. Astepro delivers full prescription strength indoor and outdoor allergy relief from nasal congestion, runny and itchy nose, and sneezing. I use Astepro every time my nasal allergies flare up, and I'm always amazed at how fast I'm back in the game. Astepro always has my back and nose. Get fast-acting nasal allergy symptom relief with Astepro. Go to asteproallergy.com for a discount so you can get Astepro and go today. ASTEPRO allergy.com. Astepro and go. Use as directed for relief of nasal congestion, runny nose, sneezing, and itchy nose due to allergies. Let's get into the Valley, shall we? Let's talk about last week on the Valley, because that finding out, this is just so chaotic. Jasmine and Kristen get lunch, and Kristen's like, Jax is the one who told me. And then they show us footage of Jax saying to her, you're not filming this, are you? No? Okay, because Brittany told me in confidence I could ruin a marriage. I can't do that. Okay, well, you just did it on camera, but you gave it to Kristen. Like, you gave it to Kristen, okay? So this is how diabolical he is, you know? He hears this from Brittany, and he probably says, oh my God, we need to talk about that on the show. And Brittany's like, no, Jax, we're not going to bring it up on the show. And he's like, I should tell Kristen, because then but then how is Kristen going to find out about it if Brittany's the only one who knows? So he takes Kristen to lunch, and he's like, sorry about all that. And then he says that he heard that Kristen or Michelle was texting other guys. Then then after this lunch, he then sends Kristen a text message. This text exchange is crazy. Let me read it. Hold on. I want to pull back because he says something underneath they don't show. Okay, here it is. Do not repeat anything personal to Michelle. You could destroy a life, and I don't know if it's true. And you told my wife, and now she's pissed at me. Why would you repeat something unless you know the facts? Please don't open your mouth about anything like that. Please, it's not our place. Kristen goes, what are you talking about? I haven't even talked to Brittany. You're the one who said shit on camera that I've never even heard of. Don't text me crazy shit. I'm filming right now. He says, okay, please don't bring anything like that up. I never said it on camera. I heard a rumor. Okay, so that was the series of events. Brittany told Jax. He was like, oh my God, we have to bring it up. She didn't want to. He's like, don't worry, I'll tell Kristen. And then I will maintain, this is on camera. There is footage of this, Jax, but he will maintain that he heard this from Kristen, like a person who really doesn't think he was on camera, or a person who trusts that they're not going to show it, but Jax knows by now they're going to show it. But this is just how messy he's willing to be. And he'll be like, yeah, I know, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, sorry about that. So, they're not getting a reunion, which is shocking. The only thing I can possibly think it is because they're about to start filming, and the dynamics have shifted so much that they don't want to just do it on a season 1 reunion. They just want to show it in season 2. That's the only thing I can think of, because I don't get it. It's a legal thing, because the show, give it to us. Maybe they just weren't slated for it. Maybe they didn't have it in the budget. I don't know. Maybe it's just simply a money thing. Maybe they couldn't afford. I don't know. I really don't know. Because let's face it, I was not excited. Most people were not excited about this. So the first season, bringing Jax back it's a tough sell. And now we all love it. So maybe it's a money thing. I don't know. But they're not giving us a reunion. And that is where Jax would have been like, yeah, okay, I'm really sorry about that, you guys. Yeah, no, I'm just really, really working on myself. I'm just really trying to work on myself, better myself. That's where he would have done that. But here he is on camera saying, I can't talk about this. You guys aren't filming this, are you? Tells Kristen that Michelle is texting other guys. Then goes and tells everyone. Everyone he tells. Jasmine, he tells straight up, Kristen told me this about Michelle. Kristen told me that. He has now lived in a whole different universe of reality where Kristen told him. I think he has forgotten he's the one who heard it from Brittany. I think he forgot. And he's confused why Brittany's not just getting it. He's like, no, Kristen told us. No, Kristen told us. She's like, I told you, and you opened your big fucking mouth, and then now you're trying to play innocent. And he's like, that's fine. Kristen will just take the heat. It's completely, don't worry, I got this. All right. The other thing that happened was that Janet is having a baby moon in Big Bear, and Kristen's not invited, and also Zach is not invited. Now, interesting tidbit. On Scheana's podcast, Janet was on, and she talked about this very situation. And this is what she had to say about Zach.
I had a gut feeling, I will say, like, specifically about Zach. You know, we hadn't spoken for 2 years before my birthday. And for a lot of reasons that you know. And I had a gut for not wanting to invite him on my baby moon. And I will say that after some recent events, I feel very happy that I made that choice.
Yeah. I think you made the best decision for you. And I think for Zach to sit there and be like, Janet and I are in a great place. I'm like, why would I not be invited? Like, it's because I'm not in a couple. I'm being singled out. And we're like, no, it's the things you've said and the things you've done over the past 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't speak to him for 2 years before, like I said, before my birthday.
A good reason.
And then there's a couple weeks later, I'm choosing who I'm going to spend a weekend in a house with and, you know, not be able to escape. And I'm like, who am I comfortable being under the same roof as for 3 days?
Yeah.
And he wasn't it.
Okay. So that's what she says here. But I feel like her attitude in this episode doesn't really reflect that. She's the messiest of all of them. That's for sure. So Jasmine and Zach are talking off over to the side, and Zach is still crying, and Jasmine's like comforting him, and Brittany's comforting him. But then Janet's friend, Simon, is right behind them, being as obvious as a human being could be. And Jasmine calls him out, which was amazing. That I could see an hour of, like, just Jasmine being like, can I help you? Like, what are you doing? What are you recording? What are you doing? Because he's literally like, with his phone. Worst spy in history. And then we will get to that in a second. But before we get into that, Jesse returns from his trip and gives Michelle the longest hug. I was getting so uncomfortable. It's like, let her go. Don't touch her like that. Like, you can feel her recoiling. You can feel it. Like, she, in the hugs, you can tell she's like, God, pull me away from this, please. Leave me alone. The editors do a really funny whatever they do with the screen and making it look like he's on a whole trip, because he's recounting his trip, and it was like, demons, get away, demons. And then and just finally at the end, it was Jesse's enough. Okay. See, what did I tell you guys about these ayahuasca trips? All right. Because he's going to do all that. He's going to come back, seeming all whatever. And then within the same episode, he's already acting like an asshole. So they're just a bunch of bullshit. Okay, over at Janet's house, though, speaking of Janet, her friends Jared and Simon come over. We've met Jared. Simon was the one videoing. And they're giving her all the life. She's packing for the trip. But also she's getting the lowdown on what happened at Kristen's event. And Janet is right. Kristen wasn't hurt, really. Kristen literally felt nothing. But it was relayed to Janet that they were both crying when it was just Zach crying. Because Janet's thing is like, Kristen can't be hurt because she didn't invite me to the James May event, which is hysterical to me that she didn't invite them to the James May event. Like, Kristen is like, I don't give a shit about Janet. So she can be mad at me and not invite me, that's fine. Because, like, she's not here. So that's completely fine with me. But Janet's like, she's like, let me call Zach. And she calls Zach on speaker in front of her gays. So that's warfare right there. Okay. But Zach has all the attitude. Like, Zach, there's no more like sad crying Zach that was of yore. No. Now it's pissed Zach. Now it's head, neck rolling Zach, giving you all the gay attitude a gay can give. And I'm living for it. He's like, I don't appreciate not being invited on a friend trip. Janet goes, well, this isn't a friend trip. It's my baby moon. And another thing I don't appreciate is your pink booted friend recording me and Jasmine and Brittany talking. It just reminded me of like, okay, boots. Okay, boots. Janet's like, first of all, Simon is a great friend of mine, and he was not recording anything. Oh, is he a great friend of yours? I text him asking, what's the temperature? What's going on over there? And he was like, people are crying. And my response to him was, oh, shit, that was not my intention. I did not want to upset Zach like that. Zach goes, how is that not your intention, though? And she's like, Zach, you're coming in pretty aggressive right now for somebody that's expecting an invitation from me. Translation, I was told you were crying and I was anticipating this type of energy. Whatever this is, not happening. He's like, I'm coming in hot because I don't get to go. And Janet goes, well, it kind of feels like you're feeling entitled to come to my baby moon instead of being like, I want to be there to celebrate with you and Jason. You're like, I should go. And that's not the right attitude to come with. But then Janet goes, which is so stupid. She's like, well, my phone is on 1% and I don't want like the phone to hang up. And you think I hung up the phone. And he's just like, I mean, I think we're ending on a really weird note, but okay. And she's like, yeah, and just hangs up. Like, what a pussy. Just hang up the phone on him then. Be like, you're not invited. Deal with it. But my phone's on 1%. Aren't you at home? Could you not go get a charger to charge your phone and stand by the charger? I get you're filming, but they could find you with another camera. Huh? Don't give me that. Don't give me that bullshit, girl. Okay, they get up to the cabin is incredible. The cabin is like, I want to stay there immediately. But I did love Janet making a shirt of Jax when he almost drowned last time. And whenever they play the clip, it's so funny because the lifeguard's like, are you serious? Like the lifeguard literally asks, are you serious? Because it's not that hard. It's kind of creepy watching Jesse because he's like, this is our sex weekend, baby. And she's like, don't touch me. It's like creepy watching him like, oh, stop it. She doesn't like it. Jesse makes a joke where they're cheersing and he's like, hear that? No drama. No Kristen. And Janet goes, okay, guys, we are not going to spend the weekend talking shit, okay? And we're going to put $20 in a jar every time we say her name. Okay, girl, because we all believe that you're the one who doesn't want to talk shit. Okay. And Jesse goes, I got 100 in my pocket. I'll be bringing her up. The girls go on a pontoon boat and Janet brings up Simon recording Jasmine and Zach. And I don't know what Janet thought she was going to get from Jasmine or from any of it. I don't really know if she thought Jasmine was going to be like, yeah, I know. It was just because you were concerned. It's like, no, it looked really shady. And so Jasmine gets up to like impersonate it. And he was like, whoa, whatever with the phone. And Janet, you could tell, is like, okay, well, we're not going to. So that's not going to happen. Like, you're not going to be mad at my friend Simon. Okay. I felt bad. But then she tries to deflect by going, Zach should not expect to be invited. I've included him on stuff, but this just felt more intimate. And Jasmine's like, but aren't you guys getting into a better place? And Janet goes, 100%. It was. I'm starting at square one with you, building trust slowly. And then Jasmine goes, but to send Jackson to drop a message. And Janet goes, do you want to let me talk or no? Fuck. Well, no, because you can tell you're talking that like kind of bullshit tone. There's a very specific tone of voice Janet gets when she's trying to pretend she's above something and she just wants to get messy. Meanwhile, Jax is with the guys while Jesse's in the water. He's telling the other ones, he goes, Kristen told me that Michelle was texting somebody on the side. Kristen. Jason's pretty awesome. He's like, why are we doing this like a little bitch? It's our friend. Let's go talk to him. If we know something, we should go talk to him. And Jax is like, the problem I have is this is coming out of Dodie's mouth, who doesn't tell the truth to save her life. The man who's lying as he says this. Literally, the man is lying. Luke and Kristen, meanwhile, they do couples therapy. I'm actually shocked Luke was willing to film the couples therapy. Like, I was like, oh, I would just think he would want that very private, but I guess not. Apparently, the big thing they don't talk about is money and like just financially supporting each other. And she's like, I can't. Oh, no, I can't. Oh, no, please don't even say it. Ooh, don't even talk about it. I'm like, well, that's bad. You're about to have children or a child. So what the? Uh-oh. Okay, so they don't have a support system in LA. Both their families are not there. And that Luke has a concern about the friends that they keep and who they surround themselves with, which is fair. But he says, I will not be happy in LA long term. And Kristen gives like a silly little confessional soundbite about like, maybe LA isn't the place for me anymore. But I'm like, no, here's the deal. I looked past this part, but when Kristen said that Luke just recently got running water in his home in Colorado, my friend reminded me of that. And I thought, well, now that's a little different. I was imagining like a cute Colorado place. I don't know what that looks like, but in my head, it was something. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's where I was going. When you put it like he's basically living off the land in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by darkness where scary things happen, I'm like, well, that is different. Like, what is the compromise? Maybe they move out of LA proper. No, sir, you want this show. Once you get that paycheck from the show and you know that you're going to get a bump the following season, it's really hard to say you don't want that money. It's really hard to say, yeah, I don't want it. I don't want whatever, $300,000, whatever they pay. I don't know what they pay. I mean, that's not, I'm not going to say no to that either. It's like, well, let's weigh the pros and cons. You know, money is a big pro. For sure. But like, Kristen, don't be all silly. Don't be so silly and telling me you're not going to, maybe LA isn't the place for me anymore. Bitch, it is. Don't you worry. So back in Big Bear, Jesse starts, for some reason, like roughhousing with Danny, but like in a fucked up way. He takes this towel and he wraps it around Danny and then starts like pulling him. I mean, this is like a chokehold, scary situation. And everyone's like, ha, 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 like you're trying to make it laugh. Like, it's so, this is funny. We're having fun. This isn't weird. And it prompts Nia to be like, have you guys tried out your self-defense moves? And so Brittany and Jax get up and demonstrate, kind of. And then Michelle and Jesse are like, should we demonstrate? And then they start to joke fight. And shocker, it gets too serious because he kind of like touches her face and she had a nose job. And so, yeah, you don't, if and when this nose gets touched, I had a friend, actually, this is so long ago, but I had a friend who had her nose done. It was like the first person I knew in real life who had a nose job. And she's like, yeah, I get facials. And I'm like, do not touch my nose. Like, do not even go near it. Don't even think about it. And I can imagine that once you get that thing touched, it's like, don't. It's so much money. Brittany watches, she gets like sent a video from Zuli. I think that's her name. And Cruz is in spin class and Cruz is like crying. And Jax goes to a crazy place. Jax like smacks the phone out of her hand. What's crazy though is how much she tunes it out. He's like, Brittany, turn it off, like screaming. And she's just totally tuning him out. I'm like, does she not hear him? Because he literally like tries to get the phone out of her hand. And she just doesn't even react to it. She just keeps looking at her phone. And he's screaming at her. And everybody is like, oh, this isn't great. And then in the car ride, Brittany is getting sick and she doesn't feel good. And she's always apparently had stomach stuff. And Brittany asked the girls, like, please, because she had to pull over to get sick. And she goes, please don't tell Jax I got sick because he won't let me hear the end of it. They're like, okay, so let's get this straight. He just screamed at you for watching a video of your son. And now you can't tell him you don't feel well because he will just give you shit for it. Like, that's ridiculous. Fuck him. But in the guy car, Danny checks in with Jesse. He's like, you keep trying to like fight me. Like, are we cool? And Jesse goes, are you going to cry about it? And Jesse goes, I apologize that you were offended. And Danny goes, okay, that's not an apology. Do you understand that? He's like, I just want to squash it, man. And Jesse goes, I already apologized. Will you shut the fuck up? Seriously. I'm like, oh, okay. How's that ayahuasca trip treating you, buddy? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They all get back to the house. Jesse's so drunk he goes straight to bed, and Michelle's like, "What happened?" He's like, "Nothing. I'm just tired. Nothing happened. But Jax is also drunk, by the way. I hear him say at one point they're about to get in the car. I think it was Jax. He's like, "Do we have any alcohol in the car?" So they've been drinking at the lake or wherever they are, and then they also drink in the car. And so now he's pouring himself another drink. And he tells Michelle that he needs to talk about something that Kristen is spreading. So he tells her his version of the story, which is Kristen was hammered and talking about her. And I know what kind of person she is. When she gets to the bottom of the barrel, she will ruin people's lives. And I want you to get ahead of it. Kristen was saying that Michelle is texting guys, a particular person on the side. And I'm like, okay, again, the commitment to this, that it's all Kristen, is crazy. To even go so far as to say, like, she's just a terrible person. This is what she does. She just does this. This is what she does. She's a terrible person. It's like, no, you know that this isn't true, that you told her. Also, in that case, when Kristen was saying to Michelle, "I'm holding on to your secrets," Michelle really didn't know what Kristen was talking about. Like, that's even weirder. Like, I protect my friends. So your secret is safe with me. She's like, "What secret?" Because was she really if Kristen really didn't know? What a weird thing to say to Michelle. She's like, "Huh? Don't you worry. That secret? What secret? Am I right?" No, literally, she doesn't know what secret you're talking about. She just truly is like, I don't know which one. But Michelle goes, "I did tell her, oh, I met this celebrity and I texted with him and I had coffee with him one morning." And Jax goes, "She told me that you were texting this man." Oh my God, I hate doing this. Michelle. Sexy pictures of yourself. And Michelle goes, "She is right. I have texted multiple people." Dun, dun, dun. Next week, she's going to be to Jesse, "You knew that." And he's going to say no. And then he's going to say, "I think this is over." And we're going to say, because in real time it is. Whoa. And the cameras have captured all of it. Incredible. So good. Well, I think I'm done. Did I have, I might have forgotten something. What was I going to address? I made some content so that I already covered that. I think that's it. I think I got everything. If I forget anything, please just let me know. Hey, Em, next week, do you mind talking about this? Because, I remember. See, okay, Emily, get it together. A bunch of the cast has taken Vanderpump Rules out of their bio. Lala pointed out that she actually never had it in her bio. So she didn't remove it, but people were including her Lala too, but she's like, "I never had it." But Schwartz, Ariana. So I do not think that the show is getting canceled. I know a lot of people are the finale felt like the end, but we also sort of said that last year. I feel like a bunch of people were like, did that not feel like a final, of the show is over? I think we just, for some reason, want to get ahead of knowing when we knew it was canceled. We knew it, but the ratings are up. There was 1 million viewers for the finale. And to me, that means they would never, because you can't argue with ratings. And as much as we didn't like the season, we talked about the season and we all consumed it. And that also counts for something. I would like everyone back. I don't want to get rid of anyone. I like that they're taking a break because I want to see what happens if their lives play out more. So in 6 months, I am curious to know what they're up to and what they've been doing. And I would be bummed if even Lala wasn't back, because I want to see what Lala's like with this other kid. I would like to see it. And I hate saying it, but to hate on it. Yeah, to hate on it. Sorry. But I am, because I want them all to answer for it. I want to see how Ariana treats them, because at the reunion, she hadn't watched the show, but she's starting to watch it. And she even said there's some things Scheana said, like the backup dancer comment. So Ariana's not getting fired. Ariana's not going to quit if she doesn't have to, I don't think, because they're about to get big bumps in pay. Going in every season, they get a bump in pay. So what's it going to be? 1 million, And I really think Scheana listens to my podcast, because she sometimes steals some stuff I say and I'm like, did you hear me say that? Or maybe that's just me being very full of myself. But Scheana said this, but I also said this before this current season started. I said they need to just break the fourth wall, like make the show about making the show and not just have it be, you know, let's pretend we're friends and we're going on cast trips and shit like that. Like, do what Teen Mom does and make the producers a part of filming the show and let you film being like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to go over there and deal with that. No, not happening. As opposed to pretending like I will not be in the same room as Tom Sandoval. I will not film with Tom Sandoval. Let us say that. And then then Lala can be like, the audience is going to expect it. And then I want to hear the producer say, we need to get this scene. So yeah, I do not think the show is getting canceled. I really do think that they are going, and they may, I hate to say it, but they may let Scheana and Lala do the Valley so that they can, I mean, yeah, they could. You know, I feel for Katie right now because thank God Katie's got her podcast, but so does Scheana and so do Lala. And like, I don't really know what other show Katie, but I don't think Katie cares. Like, that's not Katie's thing. Katie will find other ways to do it. I could see Katie even like producing something. I don't know, but I don't want to feel, I shouldn't say I feel bad for Katie. They're all going to be fine at the end of the day, 100%. But they're too much of a darling for Bravo, whether it's good or bad. You know, if everybody is talking about it, yeah, they're going to keep filming it. And the producers need to adjust because the producers they did the standard cookie cutter formulaic season like every other season has been. And that's not I have a beef with Jeremiah, I feel, because I feel like he controlled what this season could have been and could have said, we should just break the fourth wall and not pretend like this is a group of friends anymore, because it's not. And let's talk about how do we film this show. Let's show all of the making of stuff. But then I think it would expose the producers more because they are messy. You know, I mean, they make the show for crying out loud. But I think that the show will come back. They need to, but if they do not reinvent the way they present it, then there's no point. But giving it time, I would like to see everybody back. I want to see what's everyone up to, because as much as Lala drives me nuts, I want to talk shit about her if she's going to give me reasons to talk shit. And I want her to have to answer for what she said and what was done. Let's see how the reunion shakes out. We have 2 more parts ahead of us, so we'll see. But there's that. I think that's it. But I'm just going to go now, because if I forget anything, just let me know and I'll address it next week. Okay? All right, you guys. Love you. Mean it. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to She's Speaking with Emily Hanks. This show is produced, hosted, and edited by me, Emily, and brought to you in partnership with Cloud 10 Media. If you are looking for bonus content, check out the Patreon. The link is in the description. To show some support, you can hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Another free way to support the pod, please rate and/or review on whatever platform you listen. It's free, and it helps the algorithm or something. You could also head to buymeacoffee.com/shespeaks and buy me a coffee or 2. Make sure you're following me on all social medias. I am She's Speaking with Emily Hanks across all platforms: Threads, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. That's it. Thank you guys. See you soon.